before you can begin to get into even more trouble. Salary earners in Nigeria have a lot to say about all of the things that are happening because amidst all of this, her situation in the country has continued to remain the same. We heard rumors that most NYC members around the country had received a certain amount of money in their accounts, except people in Anambra who were allegedly, we are not very sure of this story, allegedly who are receiving, who received 33,000 naira yesterday. And also, as we speak, 70,000 naira minimum wage hasn't been paid to civil workers yet. We still have the NLC struggling with all of that. And on top of that, we have the Senator Natasha, and of course, Senate President Godswill Akpabio Bruhaha, and it's still there because now the INEC has refused to accept the recall petition that has been sent in to recall Senator Natasha back as the representative of Kogi Senatorial District. Listen, a lot has gone on. INEC is saying that they are refusing or disapproving this whole petition because they contained names of supposed petitioners, but no personal information, and that most of the forms had one residential area. They all were from Okene and no details, no phone numbers, no personal information, just names and residents. It was fishy. And also to tell you that there were media evidence on the internet. It's, you can still check it out for yourself. We'll put them up on High Voltage News because it's our channel that brings you up to date and up to speed with everything that's happening politically, socially, importantly, especially in Nigeria. So we have videos of supposed members of the petition committee who are trying to recall Senator Natasha. We had videos of them filling these forms out themselves, right? We saw there is media evidence that it was obviously a bogus petition. It's not clear at all. Now, it's a reflection on the kinds of people we are. And then we have people who actually committed this. And now that the INEC has refused them for very legit reasons, are they going to be held responsible for these actions? Is there going to be any consequence for people who are found to do things like this? Or would it be just one of those election malpractices, or maybe electoral malpractices, or legal malpractice? I don't understand. What do you call behaviors like this, especially when nothing seems to be done about it? And then you come back to Enugu here, where today is the public deliberation or the public hearing in the National House of Assembly as regards the Enugu State Landlord and Tenancy Amendment Law, that Enugu State House of Assembly, a bill sponsored by Okemba. Right, that bill has been said to be very detrimental to the real estate industry, to the real estate sector in Enugu State, and very bad for government business. And it's been called a populist ideology. It's been called a populist policy. But I'm also wondering, and what's so wonderful or what's so terrible about a populist policy? Are the people not allowed to have an opinion about the things that are happening around them? Or is it such a terrible thing if a government is interested in the welfare of its people? I mean, business is good, but is there going to be one populist policy that the governor or the government of the people just decides to be interested in just because it favors the people? What's so difficult about favoring the people? I'm really worried about this ideology that trying to amend these landlord and tenancy law is detrimental to real estate industry. When there is high demand, everybody makes money. It's the law of business. I'm not an accountant and I am not an economist. But there are basic rules and there are standards for things. If there is a demand and then there is supply, good for everyone. So this monopolization of industries is not necessarily giving everybody advantage. Yes, it's a populist opinion. It's a populist policy. Yes, the people have a right to ask the government to intervene in a situation that has held them in a chokehold. This was a general outcry from the people of Enugu State, asking the government to look into the housing system in Enugu, to look into accommodation and the relationship between landlords and tenants in Enugu. It is a legit cry that the people have a right to call the government out on and ask it to please look into this situation. And that call was made and there was a response. But the people who are calling this a disadvantage to real estate industry or to the real estate sector and trying to diminish the good work that the governor is doing in Enugu by saying that it will put a drawback on the real estate business and calling the outcry of the people a populist policy that will not benefit government is actually against the people. And I don't think the person really understands what governance is about. If when the people cry out to the government to look into situations that are difficult for them to navigate, it's being called populist policy and tried to be made fun of. That is wrong. And we should not do that. So today, if you have access, if you have an avenue or an outlet where you can add your voice to the situation, you can go on the social media, you can join us live on YouTube this morning at High Voltage News. Please like, subscribe, and also share. I advise you to raise your voice. Put your comments out there, put your contribution, ask the government, tell the government the reason why this is important. Tell the government the reason why they need to amend the Landlord and Tenancy Act of Enugu State. It has to be worked on. You need to tell the government why they need to put this into priority. They need to take recognizance of how important this situation is. Because a general outcry of the people should not be pushed aside as just some mere talk and try to make everything about business or about greed or about selfishness or about self-centeredness. Are you saying that the voices of the people does not matter and all that matters is probably industrialization and capitalism? What are we saying to our people? What are we making of our democracy and governance in general? These are important questions that we need to consider this morning. The phone lines are officially open just because of the Enugu State Tenancy and Landlord Amendment Act that is being deliberated at the National House of Assembly today. Remember to go out there, however that you can lend your voice to the situation, join in on the conversation and ask the government to look into this. Give them reasons. You cried out the first time, it went into a reading, and now it's time for you to defend what it is that you asked the government to do for you. So it's time to tell the government why this needs to be paid attention to. You have to remind the government why it's important for it to intervene in this particular situation. The most three important things in the life of a basic society, of basic humans in existence. It is food, it is shelter. And listen, there are basic things that people must make priority of before you destabilize an entire community. Not working class people telling you that this is all that it is about. It's just getting to feed their families and paying rent. That is, the complications are so much. We're paying retainers to landlords that do not represent our interests. They've tried to explain to us how it makes sense that we pay legal fees for lawyers that do not belong to us and do not represent our interests. Because when I pay a retainer to a lawyer of my landlords, because I'm the one who gets to pay the lawyer fees for him representing my landlord, and I'm told that I have access to this lawyer, and I keep asking the question, if I have access to a lawyer who represents my landlord, does this lawyer represent my interest? And every time I bring legal professionals here to have this conversation, they smile and they laugh. These are the conversations we're trying to bring your attention to. We want you to look into this. If a house is 750,000 naira, why am I paying the landlord's lawyer 200,000 naira for consulting for the landlord? This is what we are asking the government to look into. If I am also going to pay a 700,000 naira, 750,000 naira rent and pay 200,000 naira to the landlord's lawyer, I'm going to pay another 200,000 naira to the agent, who may or may not have even been involved in me finding this house. We're looking at almost 40% of the rent gone, not the rent, in paying people who have no serious affiliations with said property that I'm about to pay for. This is what we are asking the government to intervene. Paying for rent and being asked to leave after a year because now the rent is supposed to come down and the landlord needs a quick fix cash. He needs to make the money that you paid him, the year before. He needs to make twice of it this year. So he wants you to leave. And said lawyer that you paid for his consultation, who, according to the legal representatives, actually also is somehow yours to consult when things go bad, will not do anything when you're being thrown out of said property so that Mr. Landlord can get extra cash. And we're told it's bad for business. Did you build it? Did you build houses as cryptocurrency? Is it stock exchange? Is that what housing has become? I thought housing was a long-term property, a long-term investment that is meant to remit the money, remit its interest, remit its profits as the years go by, as inheritance, as so many things. And now we're turning housing into Yahoo business, into fraud. What is going on? And these issues are what we're asking the government to interfere in. We're asking for these actions to be controlled. We're asking that the people be given a minute of consideration in all of this. It is not too much to ask. The phone numbers to call are 0706-048-5853. Also call 0915-570-8347. Let's hear what you have to say. Good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
You're very welcome.
I'm Tantalizing, coming from Presidential Road.
You're welcome, Tantalizing.
This landlord and tenant issue has been a very big problem to society right now. I think we should go back to the olden days whereby, because it's more of the agent, whereby there is nothing like when you just write a notice board that has for rent, loan to rent, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because they know what the agent does now.
Mm-hmm.
They will go, if they see any building, any apartment that is free, that any house that's being built immediately, all they just go direct and let the house they know they're not going to live. You be in a room, you have a place where you're living, and in the house you will not live. They rent the house, let me say they left the house, let me say like 10,000,
Mm-hmm.
and they now put another, they will come and look, they will not be tell the landlord, they will look for a good person. The good person is the that person they charge high price. They will now go now and look for a new person, any person that I say, they tell that person, this house is for 20,000.
Mm-hmm.
They will be the landlord for the money. The tenants will have nothing to do with the landlord because they have already lent the house out to the agent. So the agent is now the charge collecting the money from the tenant. That make things very high. Everybody will now come in and pay direct to the tenant because they go another side and rent another one. When they look for the tenant, they put it, the tenant will pay direct and the agent will not be giving money to the landlord.
So this is the new style now. Is this like a new way that they are? Because I've not heard this one before.
It's happening.
Wow.
But it's happening. But it's just that so many people don't know. I thought it went by just. It's not easy only when it just come now. Agent find house for you.
Yes.
And you just go like directly and pay to that agent for the house to find for you, and that's all. No, it's not.
Okay.
It happens. You will not even know. You don't know the reason why you are paying high price because you are just making money for that agent. It's very, very high. They're supposed to stop everything. They have a limit of that. This is the amount to collect. Because in making the society very, very uncomfortable, everything is becoming so tough for people right now. House is very, very difficult for people to get. You cannot even leave a house that stays how many years, and you want to get everything once.
I understand.
People are suffering.
Thank you, Tantalizing. Thank you, so that I can let other people join the conversation, Tantalizing. Thank you for joining us this morning. Thank you. I appreciate you for joining us this morning. We're also live on YouTube. Do well to join us on the show this morning. Remember to drop your comments, your contributions, and whatever it is that you're feeling this morning, remember to drop that so that we can gather all of this opinions, all of these are plea, and present it to the government and say, listen, this is why you need to hear us out. Good morning to you.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hello, good morning. How are you?
No problems. You're welcome.
Yeah, the massive call from Enugu.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm referring Natasha's case in the Senate. I don't know why the Senate has not addressed the situation and move on. And this is something they have a fair. They can quickly address. They have allowed it to linger on for a very long time. The Senate cannot address such a situation. Then what else can they address?
But let's have a conversation, my dear, because I'm also asking the same questions as you are. But the thing that confused me was, do you think that the initial actions that were taken when that allegation was first declared, when it was first made, do you think that the Senate had handled it properly, or maybe the way they handled it is why we're still having this conversation now? Tell me what you think from the start.
The Senate have not handled it properly. I think they didn't handle it properly. But I still have a blame on the Senate, the lady, the Natasha. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah, I still have a big blame on her. She has not come out with any concrete evidence against the Senate president.
Has she been allowed to? Has she been allowed to?
It is just mere hearsay or beer parlor talk. If she has, I want to challenge her.
Okay.
If she has any concrete evidence against the Senate president,
okay,
she has to come out. Let her come out. She just the law does not allow on this hearsay or beer parlor talk. She's just on hearsay.
Okay.
She said this happened. Let her come out with concrete evidence if she has any. I think things can be rectified from that angle.
Okay, but do you feel like if she didn't have evidence, do you think she would be looking for this much attention if she didn't have maybe something? Because obviously.
Maybe she's waiting for at the right time to do that.
Because the Senate president is not giving the situation a lot of attention.
Strong evidence from her.
Okay.
As I'm concerned, she has not presented any strong evidence, that can incriminate the Senate president.
Yes.
She just, that's what I'm trying to say. She has not presented any strong evidence against the sexual abuse she's accusing the president of.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that has to be done if actually she has a strong case.
Okay.
Yeah, and I want to commend the NYSC for coming up with that. I think, as I said yesterday, they should remove the bureaucracy in handling NYSC allowance and NYSC issues. This bureaucracy has been there. It's not just settling it. The next year now we still encounter such a bureaucracy. I don't know why corpus allowances should be delayed. It should be paid as at when due. The bureaucracy involved in payment of corpus salary or corpus allowance should be removed entirely, in its entirety, so that these young men should have a good life and serve the nation accordingly. God bless you.
Thank you, and God bless you as well. Okay, so now that you've brought this up, let's talk about this NYSC business. It's the fact that we're still having this conversation is quite sad and very poor for a country that keeps hounding its young people. We're having this conversation every day. You want people that you can barely pay 33,000 naira. You can barely pay them 70K, 73K. You want them to join the workforce. We're talking about this conversation every day. We're talking about how they don't want to work. They can already have a taste of the Nigerian labor system from just the
the NYSC, because you don't make it look good in any type of way. You don't make it look there's any benefit to it. You make it look like a very difficult thing. Like you make it look like a very difficult, hard summer camp that they need to go to be squeezed at life. It's not encouraging. After doing that, you don't make them want to stay. You are actually giving them like a route to Japa. Good morning.
Mavis, good morning.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, Justice from Abana.
You're welcome.
Davis, do you know that what is that woman named Natasha?
Mm-hmm.
She said she had a strong evidence.
Okay. What do you think?
And we should wait, let her come up with that. We shouldn't be accusing her. We should wait, let her come up with that accusation so that we, as the citizen, will align it and know if something like that existed.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody said they have a phone call. Was it recorded? You are not sure whether that event was recorded.
Okay.
You shouldn't be very, very optimistic that this thing.
But are you curious? Are you curious as to why everyone is trying to shut her down? Why they are saying all of these things? Why do you think there's a lot of effort being put into trying to silence her and the situation? Why do you think that is happening?
This is the main thing. It's men's work. And let me tell you, most of them in that hallowed chamber are guilty of all this. And do you expect to get judgment, fair judgment? You don't expect such. Tell me one senator or two senators that also have a girlfriend.
Oh dear. Sometimes your name is too loud for you. You know that, right?
Maybe see why we don't judge people. We judge from the society, what the society is all about. You see, if something like this keeps happening, not that there are closed ears to it, doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. If somebody can accuse someone of sending 500 million, $500 million to her account, I say such a thing does not exist. She will present the evidence on the day that money was sent. Don't you think so? She will. Because she had made it public that she sends 500 million naira. This is such a huge money.
That's a lot of money.
Lot of
That's
money.
a lot of
And you
money.
are telling me the woman had no evidence. She may have. She may have kept it to herself. And all this while, you know that she says she notified her husband of
the situation.
What are you talking? What are you talking? So they have a strong evidence. I'm not saying for them. I wanted to call yesterday. Somebody was accusing you of being sentimental.
Anyways, he wouldn't be the first person.
See,
a lot of people
Nigeria,
feel that way. Do you know that?
Let me tell you, in every affairs, in all our affairs. Okay, now tell me now. If my wife should do something outside, would I judge her then in the presence of the public? If she did something wrong, would I come out to say, no, my wife, what you did was wrong? Do you do that? Even if you do that, when you come home, people will condemn you. Why don't you, first of all, save her, then you come back and you book her?
Of course.
We are all sentimental. Let's not be.
It's our lives that we're talking about. Of course, it is sentimental. You're touching our money. You're touching our health care. You're touching our house rent. You're touching our entire lives. It's sentimental. It's emotional.
Unless you are not biased. Once you have something that you are keyed into, you are being sentimental to that.
That's right.
That is the society for us. And you don't really that. It happens in our polity daily. So you can come out even if your father wrong someone. Will you stand in your father presence and tell your father that what he did was wrong, and you come back to that house? Maybe I angel. We are not angels. So we are living in this world.
We're all here. All of us are here.
We can only do the little we can. Let us do the little we can, so that the people will see that we are doing something. Let all your life not involve in evil. There are things you do. there are things God can do. Good morning.
Good morning to you too. You have a lovely day, sir. This is the conversations that we must have amongst each other. When important conversations are being had, we're talking crisis in River State. We're talking insecurity, people numbers. We're losing people in numbers. We have infrastructural deficit, in large amounts. A lot of things are going bad around us, and when we try to talk about it amongst each other, it's not just on this program. I've had people refer to other Nigerians as sentimental when they're talking about issues about life. Politics is issues about life. Some people like to call it a game, and it's this. Politics is a game. No, politics is reality. It's not a game. If someone takes the price of petroleum from 500 naira, 600 naira to 1,500 naira, it's sentimental. That's mental problems, in case you do not know what that means. When you make a 200% increase or 100% increase on commodities and services, and food is unaffordable, and there are fake products all over the place, you cannot afford health care, you can't feed your children. My brothers and my sisters, that is enough to be sentimental, and you better become sentimental so that you can pay attention and stop playing around, because you're calling it a game and you're playing it as a game. But if you took it seriously, there are so many things that won't be happening. There are so many things they won't say to us. There are so many things they will not do to us. But you're calling each other sentimental for talking the truth, for speaking passionately about your environment, about your society. We have to be more helpful than that. Good morning to you. Greetings, Barrister.
Yes, I cannot say for now that Senate aired in the case of Natasha.
Okay.
Because what started this matter is about rearrangement of the seats within the Senate rule.
Okay.
But because the lady there was angered, according to the further information we're now getting, that she was removed from chairman of content chairman on liquid content or what, something. Now, she failed to follow the Senate rule. What happened yesterday, we saw it in television, where Obi Ezekwesili and Senator Nwaiboy were exchanging words.
What do you make of that behavior?
Well, let's talk to the substance first. We'll come to the behavior.
Okay.
They wrote petition, presented their petition, and they were called to adopt their petition in line with the rules of that committee. They refused. They were meant to make an oath, make an affidavit. They declined. Do you know why? They knew. I'm believing it now. For them to have declined from making that oath, they knew what would have been the outcome by the time they discovered that what they deposited is a false claim. They knew what would have happened to them because they made the petition. It was well received. In the process of treating the petition, you said those people are biased. How can you say they are biased? They have nothing to show that they are biased. It is, if you had allowed them to start, first of all, you who wrote the petition, adopt it. Then make a necessary other compliance within as the rule requires. That is the oath. Then if they are handling it and you discover that the way they are handling it is not the way, you are not going to get justice. It is that time you can now establish that act of biasness, not to come immediately and begin to say they are biased. Now, for our sister, Obi Ezekwesili, to tell the senator to shut up in such a gathering, please, a lot of you have been saying things that the senator isn't supposed to have reacted like that. But can I say something now? If the senator had kept quiet without responding to her, what do you think that how will the people see that senator? How will his people, his representative, how will they see him? at such a national program on national television, a former minister told him to shut up. And she made other comments. She admitted she first told the senator to shut up. I mean, a reaction and equal reaction, you cannot determine how it will be.
So these their behaviors are very, very professional. These behaviors of theirs are very, very fantastic behavior.
The kind of leadership we're growing. That's you say it here every time that government is for the people, and you can imagine government is not an animal. Government is about human being controlling the affairs of of the society. These people have their own their own character, which at times with this kind of little provocation, you see them bringing it out. Well, what can we do? It's unethical for both of them to have not control their anger while they are aware that the television, they are on the national television. It's so disappointing as a representative. But at times that's what we see, you know. So we have to take it the way we see it. The deed is done. But the substance of the matter is that why won't they adopt the petition they brought? That is the committee that has come to treat that report of Natasha. Why are they dodging it? You see, by the end of the day, you may discover there is nothing concrete about this thing. It's about other things that are fueling this matter.
What kinds of things?
Yeah,
because it's
been following internet.
I want you to let's be natural for one moment without all of the politics, right? If I woke up one day and you and I, we were in a working environment, and I woke up drunk or out of my mind or aggrieved, whatever reasons that have been given for Senator Natasha to be doing what she's doing, and then I woke up and I accuse you, I put a sexual allegation on you, a man of such stature,
this person, and make them look stupid for trying to do this to me. I would want some truth to come out, right? So I'm wondering why, instead of trying to bring this truth to come out, other things are being done. There's a lot of work being put into trying to shut the whole situation down, trying to call it unimportant, saying she has no concrete evidence. I'm asking, couldn't it just be made simple for everybody and investigations run, and then we get the truth and everybody goes to bed?
Listen, you cannot just accept it. If I accuse you of one thing now, and if everybody should just accept it, no. If as she's alleging, he who alleges proves, she has to prove it.
Has she been allowed to prove it? Because currently the Senate president is not giving a lot of attention to the talk. He's not appearing in any of the courts where any of the platforms that she's trying to take him to get that equal hearing from the both of them. The Senate president is not making himself available for this investigation to happen. So what is the plan? That's what I'm asking you.
Yes, Senate president has never absconded from any invitation by committee or anybody. The Ethics and Privilege Committee has not invited him. They were receiving the petition. They are in the process of receiving the petition. Before now, the thought has been that Senate don't want to treat the matter. They are talking about the Senate rule, the violation of Senate sitting arrangement. Now, the Ethics and Privilege Committee have sat and invited them. They came. They said, okay, adopt your petition. I think they are in the process of investigating it. Okay. How else can they now do it? How else can they now do it? If not by the Ethics and Privilege Committee accepting the petition, then the petitioner now adopt it, make the position to that effect.
Legally, sir, do you know why she's being recalled? Do you know why she's being recalled?
The petitioner could not follow the process of doing it. How then, even if you go to police, you write to police. If you come, police will tell you to, okay, adopt this your petition. You have to do that and give further clarification with respect to the issue you have presented to police. You don't just do it on air like that. You don't just allow the institution to do it the way you want. The procedure.
But before we call this, and put it all on trying to put it out on this lady, have you seen that she's been trying to be recalled from her senatorial position?
Have you seen the
is dead on arrival. Of course, you don't forget.
have you seen the protests and missions against her and this situation? This is the typical story of most women. This is the typical story of most women. This is what we're calling it.
Wait now.
Barrister. I need to say something before you continue. This is the typical behavior. It's this particular one. It's not politics. This is the typical behavior of the system, the Nigerian system, whenever women come up with sexual harassment, especially like my former caller said, this is a society that we all live in, and we know how it functions in most places. Some people have really forgotten how to act. All of us are in the workplace. Some of us are in the workforce. Some of us belong to the system that you speak of. And what is being discussed is not alien to most of us. We know what it is. Most of us have experienced it before. In fact, most of us are still experiencing it even as we speak. So the ideology of trying to sweep this entire conversation off the ground, trying to discredit this woman, because what we would have wanted is, at the end of the day, if there was an investigation, if there is going to be, because it looks like everybody is trying to make sure that this conversation is ended other than investigated. If it is investigated, we would also love to see if this woman made a false accusation on this man. We would also want to teach the society a lesson, teach women lessons, if that is the case. If that is the case, it will be good to know that this woman of high character, this woman deceived everybody. It will be good to make her look stupid out of her own words. But the fact that we are doing the default thing that every woman who has been in this situation has experienced in trying to brush it down. We've seen it in homes with teenagers. We've seen it with adults. We've seen it with women of all calibers. This is not strange news.
Yes.
We wish that she would be given.
To a large extent, I agree with you. We need to protect our women. They're our mother, they're our sister, they're our auntie, okay, they're our niece. But what we're saying here is this very matter. The Senate Ethics Committee has started investigating. What's the issue here? They were asked to adopt their petition. That's the issue. You are not getting it.
Why is she on global? Why is she on global platforms asking for international relief?
So that by the time we go to that point, it will be very glaring to people that the Senate doesn't want to treat the matter. But the proper thing is that you start it from step 1, step 2, step 3. Let's see do that. And don't forget, she has gone to court. The same person has gone to court by our law.
What did the court say? What does the court say? This woman's case was even dismissed from the very beginning. It was even declared invalid from the beginning. We followed this case from the beginning. This matter has been pounded on from the moment it started.
Do we now say Akpabio is guilty? Akpabio stepped down.
We are asking, nobody has.
Would that please people?
He hasn't stepped down. That was one of the first.
What I'm saying is that, because I'm saying it because I know what happens in political, something that do happen within political scene. Some of you, if you are not in the system, you may not understand it. Your opponent can cook up a story just to make sure that you are maligned and made to.
If it's a cooked up story, if it's a cooked up story, why are we not being allowed to know that it's a cooked up story? Why wouldn't they allow this woman to be put to shame? Let her be put to shame the regular way, not try to shut her down or try to use power against her. Barrister, do you know that there are videos? Do you know that there are videos?
They put it on national television.
Do you know that there are petitions to call her back? Do you know how the petition has been going? Do you know that INEC has rejected it? Are you aware?
Yes, INEC has rejected it.
Why did INEC reject it? Why did INEC reject it?
INEC rejected. INEC on their own discovered that the petitioners, the signatures of the petitioners didn't tally with what they have in their system, and there was no phone number. So INEC had already suspended that process as it stands now.
Politically, what does that mean?
Wait now, if INEC had decided to compromise, they will continue. You wouldn't know. But INEC made public statement that the petitioners and their phone numbers are not the same. It doesn't even tell you what they have in their system. And that has put it into pause now. You understand? So what we're saying here is that Let them do the proper thing. The proper thing is that start from step 1 to step 2 to step 3. So that by the time you get to step 4, let it be that Senate doesn't want to treat it. It will be clear to Nigerians that senators, they don't want to treat the matter. But you cannot establish it now. There's no way you can. I'm not a fan of Akpabio. I'm telling you, but I'm telling you as
It's
a lawyer,
not about
you have to
fanhood.
start
I
from the
just
normal process and follow your case.
we just want a fair hearing.
Yes,
We just want fair hearing.
Do you get fair
We
hearing?
want fair hearing.
You get
So
fair hearing when you face the panel.
an allegation has to be laid first, but everybody is just concerned that she laid an allegation, and we want to find out the truth, what really happened, because this is a serious conversation that had to be had. Conduct in workplaces, the way these elites are conducting themselves. We've seen how they speak to each other at the Senate House. We've seen how they conduct themselves. They conduct themselves in the House of Representatives. I remember when Natasha Akpoti asked for drug tests for politicians and for senators in the House. And that conversation was put to the side. But when she first made this allegation, they said that women were going to require, it was, one of the senators were saying that women would require mental evaluation before they join the House. People who spoke to themselves, people who we've seen on camera conducting themselves in certain manners. It's honestly, a lot that needs to be done.
Their characters and their utterances are nothing to write home about. You understand? Some of them are, including the Senate President himself, at times in presiding over the affairs of Senate, you see him making some uncomplimentary statements. They are good. I don't know whether it gets to their head after being elected as a senator or whatever. I don't know. Whether they don't go for orientation to know that they are representing people, their image, whatever thing they do there, portray our image both locally and internationally. I don't know whether they lack that aspect of orientation as a senator.
Barrister, let me let you go.
They talk as if they were not breastfed during their time. Honestly,
let me let you go.
Not something to write home about at all.
Let me let you go, sir. Thank you very much for joining me this morning. It's a pleasure always to have these conversations with you. We have 5 minutes before it's over this morning. Do well to be one of my callers. You have from 1 minute from now on, because we need to squeeze in as much as possible. Good morning.
Good morning, my sister. We tried a lot. But we tried a lot. But you see, it's a mindset thing in our country. This is why women are the very big disadvantage. I feel very sorry for them, our women here, especially. This is why a girl will be raped. The first thing you will hear is that if I tell you, why don't you hear that? Or can you touch on the down? But in a similar crime, they got to protect the women. That's why they will sometimes it seems as if the something is lopsided to the women. You just touch the woman or batter her. But not in Nigeria. We try to make everything we have this mindset that women should be seen but not heard. You understand? We don't say it, but it's just there in the mindset.
Oh, we actually do say it. We have proverbs and adages, and there's so many structures that
We have a very big problem in this country. May God just help us. We have a long way to go. That's why we defend what just indefensible. So that just country. Thank you very much, my sister.
Thank you. Thank you, Chooks, for dropping by this morning. It's lovely to hear from you. This conversation about conduct is something that has to be had, especially in the workplaces, because of the way our society carries itself. Some of you have forgotten that what we call Oluoyibo has rules and regulation, and because of the general rot in the system, most people have forgotten how to act. I was telling a friend yesterday, because we got into this Natasha and Akpabio conversation, and the person was, and I told the person, I said, if you are conducting yourself in this manner at your workplace, better watch out, because someone has a text somewhere, someone has a picture somewhere, someone has something somewhere. It's not in the days when women were so powerless that you could easily sweep it under the grass, because that's what society is used to, sweeping women under the carpet and, using power to override it. But women are not so powerless anymore. So I'm telling you now, because of this social media and these phones, we have documents, we have proof. So be careful what you are doing.
If you're conducting yourself very poorly, if as a boss you're taking advantage of your employees, be very careful, because we know that this is happening in our society. Let's stop playing around. Good morning to you. You have 1 minute.
Good morning to you. My name is Mazi Lakomele.
You're welcome, Mazi.
I am a native of Amojo in Uduma, and in local government.
You're welcome.
This morning, you are doing well to the program. You are doing just great. And the man who is answering your questions, I don't know whether I have any skeleton in cupboard. I don't know. That is how the Kings of Nigeria is. I don't see the reason why we will be acting this way that I said yesterday in the committee.
Mm.
Is there anything that is hiding, or is there anybody paid him to do that in other ways to scatter the plans of the committee?
Mm.
It seems that he have anything in hand on, or maybe the big fish, the chocolate cow have tell him to do that, which is like you. Yes, it can happen. The truth of the matter is that the way they are treating Latasha, it's with you. If I would say, if you ask me, Latasha is guilty. He's guilty. And they don't have any place to hide. The court now is handling the case now, saying he's saying that he's no longer interested in that case. It's in the paper today.
Yes, it is.
Yes,
it is.
That means they have threatened the young man who is handling the case.
Well, we don't know the details, but you know how these stories are. By the end of the day, we might have more details to that particular headline. Yes, you're correct, Mazi.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mazi. I greet you. Thank you for joining us today. Highly appreciated. Thank you, everyone. I'm so sorry. I wish we could take even more calls, but the program is open for sponsorship. All right. You can come to Vote FM. You can also call our studio lines or our marketing numbers to just get involved in what we're doing. You can, stretch this program just a little bit longer so that we can have ample time to have these conversations. I'm so sorry that we have to end it now. Send us text messages on our phone lines. Just, stay with us, all right? And you can also continue the conversation on YouTube as well at High Voltage News. Please remember to subscribe and to share while you're there. Remember that the Enugu State House of Assembly is holding a public hearing today. All right, March 26th, 2025, 10 a.m. in the National Assembly Complex on the Landlord and Tenant Second Amendment Bill, sponsored by Honorable Okemba. Landlords, tenants, stakeholders, interested citizens and residents of Enugu are expected to be there to air their opinion and to join their voices to have the government intervene in the housing situation in Enugu State. Thank you very much. My name is Mavis Atudume. Remember what I always tell you. When you go out there today, do try your best to not intimidate or bully anybody. Try to share some love and some kindness first for yourself, because you must have it to be able to give it. And then try to spare some from your neighbors and your loved ones. Have a good morning.